Good afternoon, Mr. Kiley here with Martial Arts America, Team Navarre. Today's date is April 28th. This is your Tuesday Intermediate, Advanced, and Adult Psi form. We're going to review what we worked on last week, again, trying to sharpen it up and break into smaller chunks, as well as start to work through that final portion that the adult form entails. Okay, and again, when we get to that portion for the Intermediate and Advanced belts, they are not required to do that part with us. They can kind of watch if they would like to, or they can go over other parts of their form, or again, if they're really kind of getting a handle of the form they've learned to this point and they're just hungry for more knowledge, they can definitely kind of stay on and work that additional part of the form with us, because it's appreciated, but it's not required when it comes to doing that part. Okay, right now we're just loosening our wrists up right now is the goal. Good, kind of getting reacclimated with your weapons in case you haven't used them since Thursday. Getting used to manipulating both hands at the same time is important. I hear you. Good, getting very comfortable. Also going over different psi extensions, and so not just starting like this, but that's a good starting one. But then, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, the goal eventually, as you work with your psi, is to go from, instead of leaving the psi still and moving your hand around it, keeping your hand more still, and then letting your psi actually roll around. There's a lot more timing involved in that. Okay, but it is a lot more functional. It's a lot easier. It'll become easier later, good, because there's a lot less movement for what you're doing. So like one of them being going from here to switching to your fan. So if I go from a punch and then I switch, it's more for the intermediate or beginner form, but it's a common combination there. Is so I punch, and then from there, instead of pulling it up and flipping it down, as it comes back over, so I'll flip it over there. And so your basic combos, of course, are fan, strike, down block. So your key transition is going to be from that strike to your down block. Getting used to popping your wrist in, keeping your thumb good in that yokem, good here. And so it actually spins around and you grab it. And so it's it's fan, strike, quick flip. Good. Just practicing that over and over. Fan, strike, flip. And then over, down block. Making sure that whatever hand you're not using isn't just lagging and dragging. It's always tight in by your belt. Good. So fan, strike, flip. Getting used to popping your wrist after you strike. Good. After you circle and strike, you pop your wrist inwards. As you let your thumb stays tight, and it's that pinching motion, but your fingers have to open up. You have to let go and just get comfortable letting go. Best way to do it is to start that slow. So I lock. I kind of watch it happen, and the more you watch it happen, the more you'll gain confidence of where it's going and how to do it properly. There. Boom. Another combo you have is the 1, 2, 3. So the punch, quick, flip. Good. I have step, punch, flip, which is just here, and then I drop, grab. There's your flip. Good. So it should fall right into your hand. Good. From 1 to 2. Boom, thumb sits right back in the yokem. There's our flip again. So there's some quick hand motions there. Good. So we're going to work that. So we have those combinations warmed up. We have the individual movements warmed up. So we're going to pop that into your form. Again, I'm going to do the form as if you were standing behind me in class. Psi goes into the left side of your belt, just like that. Rest. Ready. Circle the right hand up. Turn to the left. Good. Down block to the left. So your left foot steps over. Left foot's in the front, and you down block to the left. Step forward. Drop down. Punch with the right hand. Very good. Grab the psi. You want to slide back to Fugel stance. Fan block with the right hand. Step out of Chungle stance. Chop down with the right hand. Down block with the right hand. Punch left. Punch right. Good. Your right hand goes to your belt. Your left hand opens up. You want to turn to the left. Good. Over your left shoulder. Good. Turn to the left. Fan block. Turn out to Chungle stance. Strike down with the left hand. Down block with the left hand. Punch right. Punch left. And then from there, you're going to the back wall. Slide to Fugel stance. So your right foot's in the front. Fan block with your right hand. Open it up. Strike down with your right hand. Down block with your right hand. Punch left. Punch right. Pivot your feet to the left. Step forward with your right foot. Pivot your feet to the front. High block. Low block. High block. Good. And then from there you're going to step. Punch with your right hand. Fan. Down block with your right hand. Step. Punch with your left hand. Fan. Down block with your left hand. Step. punch, fan, strike, down block, double, punch. One little brief thing, we teach to add that little shuffle back of your feet to add power to your strike. But for me, that's not really, for you guys learning at home, that's not really a mandatory thing. If that little shuffle back of your feet is kind of throwing off your timing or your rhythm or the stance or making it harder to do that move, then don't do it. The whole point of the little mini shuffle of your feet is to increase the power. But if you doing that is actually taking away from your power because it's hurting your rhythm or your timing, then just leave that part out. And what I mean is you can kind of see my feet here. When I go punch, fan, strike, that little part, the little stomp of your foot, again, if that's just to add emphasis to what we're doing, but if that isn't doing that for you, then just go punch, fan, strike. Leave that part out. Okay, whatever part works better for your rhythm is fine with me. Pull back, same thing here. Double strike down. Normally we go pull in a little bit, double strike up. You can also just go down, up. Good, and then same part here. I cross, and then you small shuffle back. There's your strike as you stomp. If that little shuffle stomp move is really giving you trouble, then just go up, strike. Leave that part out. Do all the hand and the side motions. Just leave your stance in that chungle. Okay? Double down block, punch left, punch right, and then pull back. Okay, so I'm going to real fast do that last portion of the form without those stomps, without that little shuffle and that smack, and just show you what it looks like and see if that actually makes this part of the form easier for you, okay? And so it would be, let's go back to high block, low block, high block, step, punch, fan, down block, punch, fan, down block, punch, fan, strike, down block, double punch. You do have to pull back from here, of course. Step right back out, double strike down, double strike up, cross, strike. That's an X block up into a strike, double down block, punch left, punch right, double breakaway. So hopefully if that is easier, good, kind of with the rhythm and the tempo and just making the side make more sense for you, then definitely do it that way. If you're able to add the little shuffle and the smack and your body likes that little small rhythm adjustment, then do it that way. Good. But at this point, it's whatever is easiest for you to kind of comprehend and be most confident in, right? And so the next part we're going to work on is in the form you would, after that point, after here, you would turn around and do the second third of that form. Okay, that can be kind of hard to do learning it backwards. And so just know that this combination does go facing the back wall, but we're going to keep going towards the camera so you can kind of learn it like you're standing behind me. It's kind of hard to learn something and look over your shoulder at the same time, right? And so instead, we're just facing this way again. Okay, this is that second third of the form we kind of started working on last week. Intermediates and advanced, you don't have to do this if you don't like to. Adults, you got to stay in for the ride, right? So it's that high block, low block, high block, right hand opens up, and then you strike down. Good. Your right leg is up, turn, down block, punch left, punch right, square back up to the middle, open up your left hand, right hand over your head, same thing on the opposite side. Left leg raises, left hand strikes down, down block, punch right, punch left. And then from there you pivot to the front again. Your right hand as you do that does a fan block and then a down block. Then you step, add a punch to it, then a fan, then a down block, then you step, punch, and then add the strike down and the down block. Double punch. It's that same exact combo now. Double strike down, double strike up, strike, double down block, punch left, punch right, pull back. All right, so we're going to start back over at that first initial combination of your form, the very beginning part, right? And then walk through it a little bit, kind of keeping that same pace and tempo, paying attention to the stance changes, paying attention to where you're rotating. And the most important part now that's going to help you guys really understand the floor or the form is what all of this is doing depending on where you are in the room. Okay, so it will all, because right now I know this is my front, I know this is my left, my right, my back is the back wall. And so making sure that when you're practicing, whatever room you're practicing in, kind of using those walls, using the space around you to help kind of teach you and tell you where you're supposed to be going, what foot's supposed to be in the front, which direction you're turning. I try to use very descriptive language, like you turn to the left, put your left foot in the front. But what can also help that is kind of comparing where you are in the room and just using that as almost like your double check. All right. So again, just kind of, I'll also make references to that. I'm going to try not to confuse you with that, but I'm also going to make references to that. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So you're locked and loaded. Rest ready. Here, you're going to turn to the left side of the room. Good. Down block. Step forward. Drop down punch with your right hand. Slide back. There's still right leg in the front. Fan block with your right hand. Open your stance to chungle stance as you strike down. Down block with your right hand. Punch left. Punch right. Okay, so this is what I mean. You're going to turn and you're going to go to the right side of the room. Right? If that's the front, that's the right side. But I'm going to turn over my left shoulder, over my back shoulder to get there. So I'm turning to the left, okay, but I'm going to the right side of the room. My left foot's in the front. I'm in a Fugel stance. I will fan block with that left hand. I will step out into Chungle stance. Left foot still in the front. Strike down with that left hand. Down block with your left hand. Punch right hand, punch left hand. And then open up my right hand. My right leg will slide over into that Fugel stance. So now I'm going to the back wall. I'm going directly behind me. Good, where the camera is. I fan, I open up, strike down with my right hand. I down block, punch left, punch right. From there, I will turn, step forward with my right foot, and I will turn. Now I'm going back towards the camera like I started with my left foot in the front. I will high block, low block, high block. From there, I will step forward, punch with my right hand. Fan block with the right hand. Make sure in that chungle stance. Down block in front of your knee. Step forward, punch, center of the chest. Fan block right outside your shoulder. Down block right over your knee. Step forward, punch with your right hand. Fan block with the right hand. Strike down. Down block with your right hand. Punch left, punch right. Scoop and fold back in. You're the double breakaway now. Pivot your foot. Step right back into chungle stance. Double strike down. Shuffle. Double strike up. Cross the arms. X block up. Strike down in front of your shoulders. Good. Double down block off to the sides of your legs. Punch left. Punch right. Big loop, scoop, and pull. All right. And then again, that second portion. So I'll back up. When we're doing the form like for real, like at a grad or a tournament, you would just go from here and you would quickly turn and you would start like this when doing this combination. But I'm going to show you continuing to face this way so it makes more sense. And so you turn, high block, low block, high block. Your right hand opens up. Your left hand stays high. You strike down. And then as you fold this one in and turn, you down block. So there's a lot of little motions going on there. Good. If you're having trouble with that chamber of your knee and then landing in a down blocking stance going this way, it is okay for right now to go ahead and put that knee down and then turn your body on both feet. That's what I mean. Because this is what the actual movement is here. But that can be kind of tricky at first. So instead, it's okay for right now to go here, set it down, switch, turn, and step your body out until that makes more sense. Strike, strike. Pivot. Here. Strike. Down block, punch right, punch left. Pivot, fan, down block, punch, fan, down block, punch, fan, strike, down block. Punch left, punch right, pull back in, double strike down, double strike up, bring it up. Good. Double left, punch right. Pull back in, and again, this form again would turn one more time. Again, that part would go to the back wall, so we'd be here. You'd actually turn again. High, low, high, step, double elbow attack, double block, break away. There's a block, and another, and here, turn, throw. There's a lot more that we'll get to at some point. But part of the reason I'm kind of showing, especially intermediate advanced guys, that I'm showing you the entirety of this form. Okay, part of it's the principle of overload. And so what that basically means, one way to kind of, because right now our form stops that very first pullback the second time, right? And that, when I show you the second chunk of this form and the part that I just showed you, the third of this form, that you can start to see how long this form actually is. And so now knowing that you stop after you go here before you even turn around a second time, good, what's that kind of do mentally? That relieves you, right? Like, oh, wow, this form isn't that long. Okay, good. Good. So it can kind of take at first what was a perceived negative of, man, this form was so long. And then when you see how long the form actually is, then when you know you only have to stop at a certain point, it helps you go, oh, this isn't that bad. It's kind of like when you're in school, if your teacher went, if your math teacher went, I'm going to assign you 10 math problems for homework. You're like, oh, that's so many. Okay, but instead if they were like, I'm going to assign you 50 math problems for homework, and you're like, that's so many. And you know what? You're right. Let's choose 210. What would you do? Oh, that's not bad at all, right? It makes what was first perceived as a humongous amount of form, and now since they're stopping only a third of the way through, in your mind it's like, oh, this isn't as bad anymore. So it's just a way to kind of almost trick your mind into calming itself down, which is right now what we need to do. All right, so let's do the form again a little bit, knowing where we can stop. Good adults, you don't get to stop. You got to stress out. You got to do the whole form. Okay, so you're locked and loaded here, but I hope you're not stressing out. If you are, let me know so I can help you. Rest ready? Roll it, turn to the left, down block, step forward, drop down punch, grab, slide back. Keep that right leg in the front though. As you fan, make sure the initial turn to go, anytime you go from Fugal to Chungal, the first thing that has to happen, I'm sliding back so you can see my feet. The first thing that has to happen is your hips and shoulders have to face where they're going, right? That's what gives you balance and power. And so from here, what has to happen for that to happen, I have to take this back foot when you're locked and loaded on this foot, and you have to turn it because you have to pivot the foot. So make sure anytime you go from here to here, it's very, very important to remind yourself to turn this foot first, almost like unlocking a door. I can't open the door until I unlock it. So from here, I have to unlock the door. Then I can step out. Then I can go ahead and switch that stance. It has a lot more balance that way. Down block, punch, punch. Turn your feet to the back wall. Left hand opens up. You're going to push off of this foot and slide on. This foot's done turning. It doesn't turn anymore because it stays this way. So I went from here and I turned. This foot stays where it is. Your left foot is going to push and then slide onto the same line that this foot is on, right? Because I have to go to Fugal stance. So I have to basically push and I slide and then I turn my foot out, all right? As you do that, you fan. Before you go from fan to Chungal and strike down, you have to unlock that door, open up your stance. Strike, down block, punch right, punch left. This foot is actually already done turning. All that has to happen now is this foot slides closer and then turns. Fan, pivot your back foot, open it up, step out, strike, down block, punch left, punch right. Turn both feet this time. So I try to stay on the balls of our feet a little bit. Your heels will be lightly on the ground, but I don't want you like sunk back onto your heels. I want you really, anytime you turn, to try to turn on the balls of your feet. Step, turn again. High block, low block, high block. Punch, fan, down block. Punch, fan, down block. Step, punch, fan, strike, down block, punch left, punch right, pull, break away, pivot the foot, step right back out, double strike down, double strike up, raise, strike, double down block, punch left, punch right, scoop down, pull back. So you can I try to overemphasize it there. Anytime you even go from Chungal sliding back into Fugal, from that heavy stance that's wide to that stance, the cat stance where you're basically on one foot, you also want to make sure the first thing you're doing before you switch stances is turning that foot. So even if I'm going from here to here, you kind of see how that goes first. That your back foot has to kind of be that lock and key to be able to help change your stances, because your front foot's job is just to move itself from one space to another. Your back foot's job is controlling your balance. It's controlling your weight, okay, to make sure it's controlling your coordination. So again, if I'm going from 1 to 2 or from here to here, just remind yourself that the first thing you have to do is turn that foot. And as goofy as it seems, when I was learning this form, one of the best ways to get better at doing that particular movement is just to do that particular movement. Okay, if that part of the form is giving you guys a lot of trouble, then strip away everything else. Put your sai off to the side. Don't do stop the form and go back and just do that one part repeatedly until it makes enough sense that you have to stop thinking about it until you're bored with it, right? And so if I'm here, if I'm having a hard time getting that part, and every time if you notice that when you're doing the form, every time you get to that little portion where your stance changing, if it's different every single time, or if you just don't feel confident, or if you kind of frustrates you a little bit, then put the part aside, put the sai over to the side, and then just break that part down and go to here, go to your Chungal stance, turn, slide. Hold it for a couple seconds. Turn, step. Turn, slide. Turn, step. And just break that movement down. And so your body and your brain are kind of on the same page. Okay, again, what you'll feel, different railroad tracks, your body's going straight forward. Your weight's actually even. It's 50-50. Okay, I pivot, almost like I'm in a really bad chemo stance, and then I have to physically feel this leg push itself. So I'm not just leaning backwards. Your body won't want to do that because you have to get the weight to push onto this leg. Now this one can freely move and it just slides over. Good. If you want the exact specifics of your Fugel stance, okay, from here, your feet are about shoulder width. Your feet are shoulder width apart. Good, and then shoulder width and a half deep. Good. So I will turn, and then from here I want to slide and kind of see how my shin is in a very vertical line. Good. So my feet aren't here, but they're also not way out here. You're trying to get your knee to go right down into your heel. There's that vertical line. That's what you want if you want to make this form correct. The technical weight distribution of your Fugel stance is 70%, 30%. So 70% on my back foot, 30% on my front foot. But it's hard to get into a stance and go, is this 70% or 60%? Just the basically way you feel it out is if I can lift this leg without leaning back anymore, then you're good to go. If you're heavy on this foot and you have to physically push your weight backwards to get this leg in the air, that means you're too heavy on the front foot. Okay, another way to look at it, good. If you look down and your toes are like white because they're leaning on them real strong, if they kind of change color because all the weight's on them, good, then don't do that. Make sure, again, the way I always check it is by simply lifting it and putting it down. And if nothing changes while I do that, I know I'm in the correct stance. Okay, if none of my weight or none of my motions change, then you're good to go. We're going to rock the form one more time. Again, breaking into steps. Turn. Down block. Another good thing you can do, drop down punch, okay, is especially if you have like some spot of hardwood or something, or like a garage, like a floor like that, step out strike, is you can take either punch left, punch right, like some like electrical tape or duct tape or cones, or some kind of symbols or some sort of signals, and you can actually map out the form on the ground by putting those there so you kind of know where your feet go. It's helpful to kind of visualize and physically see where your feet are going before they get there. It just helps kind of build that recognition. So what I would, like if I was doing this form, I would go here, and I would put a piece of tape right here because I know this foot's going to go there, right? And then from there I put a piece of tape over there because I know after the fan block it's going to go to there. And then I down block, punch, punch, and then from there I will actually, cool part is these two pieces of tape, the one that I put for the Fugel and the one that I put for the Jungle, I can leave those there because this foot is going to go where that foot was. Right? When I went from Fugel stance here and I widened out, so this is where that front foot was. When I widened out my stance, good, now I can take this foot stays here and my other foot goes where my front foot just was, here. Down block. And this, you can kind of start to see the other foot landed. So it's kind of a box. It's very boxy. Down block, punch, punch. But that's a very helpful way. I'll put a piece of tape up there because that's where my stance goes. Good. Just little things like that really will help start to get this form down. So at this point, it's not the form itself. It's not the actual side part. It's not the movements. You guys have all the strikes down. You even have all the combinations down. It's the movement part. It's getting the steps down. It's getting the transitions of the stances to do what you want them to do. Simple. Good. Another kind of quirky thing you can do, I'll finish off class with this part, is because everybody learns differently, right? Is some people are very, very visual, as in they have to see it. Some people have to be able to kind of visualize what they're doing. What you can also do, I'm not sure you can see this, is you can write the form out. So like from an aerial view, if you start here, good, and then where's the form go? It goes to, if this is the front, this is the TV, good, and so then you goes to the left first, and then from where does it go? It goes over your left shoulder to the right. Good. And then where does it go? It goes, then you come back. Then it goes to the back. And then it goes forward. You kind of just draw and diagram out the form. As you can see, I'm not a very good artist. That's fine. But the little things like that, whereas either drawing the form out or physically writing the form, writing each move from move to move, that can also help. Or putting pieces of tape on the ground. There's a bunch of little creative ideas you guys can have Maybe you don't have any, then ask me. I can give you, if you're going to tell me your specific situation, I can hopefully help get that figured out for you guys. Because at this point, we have the whole form down. We have everything down. All of the parts where if people are having any troubles, it's probably going to be very particular things that's going to be different on most students. And so if you kind of really, if you're the student that's doing it, try to figure out very specifically what you think is going wrong, whether it's the strikes or the stances or the turning part, or if you're kind of getting lost when you're going from direction to direction. Let me know those things so I can hopefully be able to contact you guys via Zoom or via Facebook, or just kind of talking through Facebook with the messages, and then help get to where we're getting very specific things answered. All right. If there are any of those questions, please let us know. And then I will help you guys out the best I can. We're wrapping up the class now. Right now, advanced belts, you guys have your class coming up next. Intermediate belts, you're done for the day. So you guys have a wonderful time. All right. You are dismissed.